We will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together.
Pops.
About to be a pops.
Brittney Griner's name is in the headlines again. But this time, it's not about basketball. It's about some shocking records that just surfaced. Alleged medical files have been leaked, and if they're even halfway legit, they suggest her story isn't what the WNBA sold to the public. The rumors point to surgeries, hormone treatments, and a past the league never wanted questioned. But now it's all blowing up for everyone to see. The timing couldn't be messier either. Remember that viral clip when Brittney was caught courtside calling Caitlin Clark a trash white girl? That moment lit a fire, but what followed was a full-blown storm. Suddenly, her past got dragged back into the spotlight, from the time she was locked in a men's Russian prison to doctors now allegedly saying her biology doesn't fully match what fans were told. And the silence from the WNBA? It's deafening. People are asking if this has been hidden all along. Once the video spread, those so-called records hit the internet. And they weren't just wild fan theories. They had doctor terms, lab numbers, and official-looking notes. Claims included testosterone levels outside the usual female range, male-coded bone structure, and mentions of surgeries that weren't about sports, but about identity. That's when people started connecting the dots. And fans pointed out something trainers had whispered for years. Brittney heals from injuries freakishly fast. What normally sidelines a player for weeks barely keeps her out a couple days. She bounces back like it's nothing. People used to laugh it off, saying she was just built different. But that phrase hits way harder now. Her frame, her voice, her recovery speed. People started lining that up with how male athletes usually heal, and suddenly the pieces fit. Social media detectives didn't waste time either. They pulled old game clips, slowed down interviews, and rewatched training sessions. Some even dove into sports science journals to compare her performance. The more they looked, the more convinced they became. Her power, her reach, her vertical. It didn't look like the average WNBA player at all. The difference wasn't subtle. It was right there in plain sight. One highlight reel in particular had fans shook. Watching Brittney dunk with ease while most players can barely touch the rim had people saying, "Wait, what are we even looking at here?" The gap was undeniable. Then another video resurfaced, the topless Instagram clip Brittney once posted. No cover-up, no bikini, nothing.
Swaggy, Brittney, let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the fuck, get the hell out of here, yo.
Tell me why.
Jab stepping, it's a brick. Swing and a miss.
Oh!
Yo, I ain't gonna.
And here's the kicker. Instagram's AI didn't flag it the way it normally would for female users. Instead, it let the post stay up, treating her like a male profile. Fans went wild over that one, saying if any other WNBA star did the same, it would have been deleted instantly. But honestly, these whispers go back years. People have always pointed at her deep voice, her broad shoulders, her stance. That's not new. But the real jaw-dropper came after her child was born. Instead of asking to be called Mom, Brittney reportedly told a reporter she wanted to be called Pops.
I think there's probably one other job that you're about to get into that is really hard and really scary. You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together. About to be a pops. Please tell me how exciting that is for you and what you're looking forward to most.
I'm super excited. Well, I mean, I guess I'll just drop it. He's here. So he's here. Yes. 7/8/24.
Fans couldn't believe it. They said most new moms embrace motherhood, but Brittney wanted the father title. And once she said that, some people stopped calling her Brittney altogether and started calling her Brittney Griner. Now, when people online throw around the phrase Brittney Griner dressed as a woman, they're not just joking. They're saying the league has been hiding a truth the public wasn't supposed to question. And the silence from officials only fuels the suspicions louder than ever. Now, this is the part that really has fans furious. And honestly, you can see why. Women's sports weren't created just for entertainment. They were built so female athletes could finally have a fair shot. A space where women could go head-to-head without being overshadowed by someone built with a totally different biological frame.
In sports, we like to have a sense that the playing field is level, that there is fairness and competition. Another really important value in sports is that we want everybody to have an opportunity to play, particularly when we're talking about young people. And as a result, with this particular topic, there is apparent conflict between those two values.
We will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
So when someone like Brittney Griner steps on that court, tall, powerful, allegedly holding the physical edge of a male athlete, people start questioning if this is still fair competition or if it's flat-out robbery. And that's not just Twitter chatter anymore. Even leaders outside of basketball are saying what parents and young athletes have been warning about for years. Check this out. In one clip, a speaker said straight up that if men are allowed to compete in women's sports, then the whole point of having those leagues disappears. You don't even have to agree with everything they stand for to hear the raw truth in those words. Because let's be real, if women's leagues get flooded with athletes who don't share the same biology, then what exactly are we protecting anymore? And the fans, they're going in with zero filter. One comment put it blunt. If it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck. Brittney Griner is not a woman. Brittney Griner is a man. Another blasted the WNBA itself, writing, "Who do they think they're fooling? They knew the truth all along, and now they're scrambling to cover their tracks." What makes this even wilder is Brittney's own stance. She's been front and center pushing the idea that trans athletes should compete in women's sports with no restrictions, none. There's even a press conference where she called banning biological males from women's leagues a crime. That's her exact word, a crime. And she doubled down.
States who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I'd hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that? You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are or like it's just all eyes on them. So I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason. So I definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed for sure.
In another interview, she said it was at the top of her list to make sure trans athletes could play without barriers. But here's the kicker. Once her own biology started getting questioned, that clip hit completely different. It stopped sounding like a casual opinion and started looking like she was fighting for her own spot. Fans are saying it loud now. Of course she'd be against any type of testing, because if leagues ever started checking hormone levels, bone scans, or birth records, players like Brittney might not even be cleared to compete. And don't forget, the US literally swapped her for the Merchant of Death, one of the most dangerous arms dealers on the planet. That's not a trade you make for just anybody, which is why people can't stop bringing up the fact that when Russia locked her up, they didn't send her to a women's prison. They sent her to a men's prison. And that's the part that still makes people's jaws drop. One person said it perfectly. The Russians aren't stupid. They knew exactly what they were doing. But here's where things get even messier. Because once the Russia prison story resurfaced, fans started digging deeper into Brittney's past. And what they uncovered only stirred the pot louder. Remember, this wasn't just a case of being locked up overseas. She was placed in a men's facility. And people keep asking, why would Russian authorities do that unless they had their own receipts? Clips from those years have been making the rounds again, showing Brittney in chains, towering over guards, looking more like she was being processed alongside men than treated like a women's basketball star. And fans didn't miss a beat. One viral comment read, "Russia exposed what America's been hiding. They didn't blink. They threw him with the men." Another said, "If Russia saw her as male, what does that tell you about what's real?" And it doesn't stop there. Trainers, insiders, even rival players are now being side-eyed. People are saying there's no way folks this close to Brittney didn't notice the differences. Some fans even accuse the WNBA of running a straight-up cover-up to protect their superstar. One clip from an old interview has been replayed non-stop, where a reporter asked about her recovery time, and Brittney brushed it off with, "That's just me, I bounce back quick." Fans now call that the ultimate slip-up. The whispers turned into shouts. She's been dominating women's basketball for years while the league pretended nothing was off. And as those highlight reels keep flooding TikTok and Twitter, the comparisons only get sharper. Fans are lining up clips of Brittney's dunks next to NBA players, pointing out how her movements look more in sync with male athletes than with her WNBA peers. And now, the conversation isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about trust. People are asking, if the league has been hiding this the whole time, what else are they covering up? Now look at this moment right here. The prisoner swap for Victor Bout. Pay attention to how it was framed. That wasn't just some quiet trade deal. That was a global statement. And let's be real, Russia didn't place Brittney in a men's prison by accident. Would they really have done that if they believed, without question, that she was biologically female? That's the part fans can't stop replaying. And here's where the double standard smacks everyone in the face. Real women, women who've never transitioned, never taken hormones, never had surgery, have been banned from sports just for having naturally high testosterone. Olympic champions like Caster Semenya, India's Dutee Chand, even Namibia's Christine Mboma, all sidelined from their best events because their hormone levels didn't fit the rulebook. Born female, raised female, no secrets, no deception, and yet they were punished. So the question is simple. Why does Brittney get a pass? Why is everyone else tested, scanned, and monitored like lab rats while one superstar gets to bypass every biological rule? Fans say the answer is clear. It's not about fairness, it's about branding. The WNBA has built its entire identity around being progressive, inclusive, and proudly political. From sponsor deals to court messages to full-on Pride Night events, their entire image is selling the idea that they're leading the culture war.
NBA has long embraced the LGBT community, both on the court and in the stands. But starting this week, it will become the first professional sports league to have a marketing campaign specifically targeting those fans.
And for us, it's really a celebration of diversity and inclusion and a recognition of an audience that has been with us very passionately.
The league's WNBA Pride campaign will focus on print and the web, including a league website. All teams will participate.
That can be hosting a Pride Night. That can be having a player serve as a grand marshal in a Pride parade.
But if that image turns out to be fake, if the league knowingly let a player dominate while hiding the truth, the backlash would be brutal. Lawsuits could come flying from every direction. Players who lost championships, bonuses, and endorsements because they had to compete against Brittney would demand payback. Imagine the headlines. Stars robbed of careers, robbed of medals, robbed of millions. And it wouldn't stop with the athletes either. Big money sponsors who poured millions into a women's league would want answers, and possibly refunds. We're talking financial chaos the WNBA could never afford. And don't forget, the NBA itself props up the WNBA. They don't just cheer them on, they bankroll them. Even Draymond Green once admitted the NBA has been carrying the WNBA financially and publicly.
It pisses me off because I don't think there's anyone in America that supports the WNBA more than NBA players.
100%.
The NBA players support the WNBA like
the most.
More than we probably support the fucking NBA. And it bothers me.
So if the WNBA goes down in flames, that fallout scorches the NBA too. Here's the nightmare scenario nobody wants to say out loud. If Brittney's status ever gets officially confirmed, it could change sports worldwide. Leagues from soccer to tennis to track could be forced to reintroduce biological testing, something that would set off a political firestorm across the globe. And that's why the WNBA stays silent. That's why they act like this scandal doesn't exist. Because if they admit this once, who's to say it isn't happening again? Who else could they be protecting? At the end of the day, if Brittney really was born male, and the league knew it all along, this isn't just controversy. This is a straight-up cover-up that could shake the entire sports world to its core, and that's where we'll leave it for now. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.